Hi, my name is Kelly Frantz-Langford, and this is my EDL856 case study. To begin, we will summarize the issue at hand, which is that a new parent group is formed and they are requesting a more active role in the school. Specifically, they want input on discipline procedures, teacher evaluations, curriculum, and school communication. This group has dissolved the association with the National Parents and Teachers Association, elected officers of a new group, and determined committee assignments and developed a plan for back to school. So they have come prepared to the meeting with me. Who is involved? We have parents, although the group size is undetermined. We have students, of course, that benefit from family involvement. Our teachers, our other school staff, our superintendent, school board, and community will all be impacted by the way this goes forward. We do have some legal concerns with the group's proposal. First of all, at least the way the proposal was presented, it looks like there would definitely be some FERPA violations to consider in the way that they would be collecting data on students and teachers. Teachers would fall more under negotiated agreements as they wanted input into teacher evaluations. It looks like their proposals to back to school night could change contract times, things like that. So that would be something we'd have to look into. They did note that the district makes some curriculum decisions, but depending on what exactly it is that they're proposing, we might have some issues with making sure they align with state standards and local school board standards. I'm not sure at this point whether they have a nonprofit status and whether they're using the school's name and mascot logo on any of their work, because that would need to be approved through the district. There are also ethical considerations. We do know on the one hand that increased family engagement leads to better outcomes. I would worry about staff morale with a parent group that seems to be very dissatisfied with the current process and feels like they have an opinion on how our teachers are doing professionally. We certainly have a balance of parent and professional opinions, ethical considerations in that realm. And also, it would be important to know whether this particular group is a very small group or whether they represent a large and diverse group of parents. So, the concern is that I must collaboratively, legally, and ethically engage the new parent group in a way that supports the well-being of each child and adult. We definitely have two publics here that we need to speak to. We have our internal public of the school, including all of our staff, our students, our administration, our superintendent, our school board, but we also have external public of the parents and the community at large. There isn't a lot of information about the community in particular in this scenario. And we also don't have a lot of information about the type of program. I can assume that it's a public school because this scenario included an acknowledgement that the school board makes some of these decisions. It seems like back to school night and American Education Week are important to this group of parents, and I would certainly say we have an active group of parents coming with this proposal. We definitely have a very delicate situation here that could significantly impact the relationship between the school, the parents, and the community at large. As far as stakeholder outcomes, certainly the students have probably the biggest stake in this. We know that increased parental engagement equals success. We have parents that want their child to have a very successful learning environment. But also we have future parents that could be impacted by this as well, as parents are choosing which school their child will attend. This could impact our teachers both in recruitment and retention if they feel, teachers want to work in a school district where they feel supported by their administration and the community. The principal is a stakeholder I would be a stakeholder in that there are certainly legal and ethical implications to consider, and that also goes for the district. And then the community also has a role in this, again, both as future parents going into the school, but also as employers as our students leave the district. There is some critical information here that makes it difficult to make a solid decision at this point, but it would include, I'm unsure of the size and the diversity of the parent group, whether it's a small group of parents or a large group of parents. We don't know their organization status, and so that could definitely impact or influence how we work together. We don't know a lot about the community. We don't know the history of why they left the National PTA. Don't have the history of parent organizations within this particular school. And there's not a lot of information about the current communication strategies. And certainly, I would say one significant component that the new parent group has brought forward is a lack of communication between really understanding what goes on during the school day with their children. So for options, considering sort of the more drastic options at the beginning, as principal, I could outright refuse the group demands, which would alleviate the legal and ethical concerns. It may help my staff feel very supported, and it also could help organize other parents that aren't involved to really come in and talk about what's already going well. The cons could be that it could impact student achievement because we know that relationship with parents in the school is important. It could also impact the budget because typically PTAs provide a critical role in supplementing the money for the school, and also certainly would impact community relations if things were to go badly. The second option would be to agree to all of the group's demands, which may lead the group to be more cooperative with the administration, which they did note was important to them. Certainly parents are your strongest advocates, and as far as not only financial contributions, but word of mouth within the community and really promoting people wanting to come to that school district and that school in particular. The cons could be that this would harm the relationship with the teachers if they felt like the parent demands were being met and their professional decision making was being questioned. And then we already talked about the legal and ethical implications. Another option would be to request a needs assessment and a strategic plan, really trying to engage that group of parents, but also help bring together a group of diverse stakeholders, so parents, teachers, and community members, really looking at short-term and long-term goals, reviewing legal and ethical concerns and making sure that we are aligned. And it could really impact the quality of what happens. The con, of course, is that the group could outright refuse. It would probably take more time and not move as quickly as they hoped, and possibly there could be an expense associated with it. Option 4 would just be to encourage the group members to become more involved in the current engagement opportunities. So it does engage parents to learn more about what is already in place, increases opportunities for them to give feedback and input into decisions. The con, of course, might be that we might not get to the core concerns of the group. I would go with option 3, requesting a needs assessment and a strategic plan. To do that, I would ask for a meeting with the group to share the proposal, identifying a leadership team to work with the parents, so a group including myself from the school that could join them in taking a deeper dive into some of their concerns as far as discipline, teaching, things like that. I would definitely want to consider some of the easy requests and see if there are things that the group is proposing that either already exist or would be easy to put in place. So for example, they were wanting to collect data on some things. It's possible that that data already exists in a way that is legally and ethically okay to share, so that they can really feel like I'm listening and trying to support their efforts. We would clearly have a conversation about the legal and ethical parameters with any plan going forward, and I would be discussing that with the superintendent and the legal team to make sure that I understand all of the implications. And then I would definitely want to review current communication strategies. It seems like regardless of where we go forward, there are definite gaps in our communication with parents, and that is part of my responsibility, and would want to try to put some things in place to remedy that piece as soon as possible. So who would I involve? Again, the superintendent and our legal team, but then also the teachers, parents, and other staff as appropriate. If it doesn't work, again, I would try to meet the requests of the group as much as I could. So for example, if there are pieces of information that is appropriate for me to share with them, I would certainly give them access to that. Again, there is a communication issue with the community, and so reviewing communication protocol and really putting some important really looking at our communication and making sure that it's getting to a diverse group of stakeholders is important. I would also make sure that I'm getting feedback from as many parents as possible into what we can do both to improve communication and also to make sure that I understand what their concerns are. And I would be forming an internal leadership group to address it because, again, regardless of how we move forward, we have a group of parents that's expressing a concern, and I feel like we need to be responsive and really listen and try to encourage that engagement in an appropriate manner. These are some of the references that I used to help form my thinking for this case study. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.